After years of a pretty public indie dev cycle, the self-proclaimed Wario Land like Pizza Tower has finally been released, and I have to admit I was really skeptical. Not because I don't like Wario Land, but in fact because I do. I replayed Wario Land 4 in anticipation of Pizza Tower's release because I was really interested in answering the following question. Were fat Italian guy platformers with a momentum and collection focus this underserved market in dire need of new entries? Or was the execution of that formula so masterfully done that they literally could have done anything, and the superficial qualities laid on top of that formula are irrelevant? Having reached the apex of the Pizza Tower, I can tell you this. The answer to that question doesn't actually matter, because Pizza Tower isn't just a wishful homage to Wario Land, but a game that takes its principles and twists them in new and interesting ways, executing with both a high bar for quality and a sharp focus on presentation, resulting in a game that isn't just a must-play for fans of Wario, but a must-play for any fan of 2D platformers. Peppino Spaghetti's failing pizza shop is situated next to an oddly metaphoric looming tower of pizza, wherein a giant evil pizza will be Peppino's undoing. It's your job to scale all 5 floors of the tower, containing a handful of levels in each, to climb to the top and claim victory. But what makes this explicitly a Wario-themed adventure is a few design elements borrowed from that series, most important of which is momentum. Peppino has the ability to move at really high speeds, but it doesn't happen at the click of a button, at least not immediately. Your run will escalate into a few different tiers of speed, the highest of which has Peppino shrugging off bad guys like they aren't even there, and blasting through metal walls. But it's not just the building of that speed that makes Peppino fun to control, it's all the ways in which he can cash in on that speed to do different maneuvers. Speed can be maintained even if you turn 180 degrees, provided you give yourself enough time to drift and change that velocity. Duck while sprinting and you can roll into tight spots, and there's even a Super Metroid-like Shine Spark that lets you convert momentum into a completely vertical super jump. Jumping into a wall will have Peppino climb sheer vertical obstacles with ease, as long as he had that running start. But I think maybe the biggest way in which momentum feels different from Wario Land is modern non-handheld screen real estate and the modified level design that comes with it. Because as fast as Wario could move, you wouldn't really be able to maintain those top speeds until a second playthrough or until its iconic return trips through levels on the way out. Because without prior knowledge, the screen was too small to telegraph what's coming far ahead of you, which in turn necessitated more compartmentalized level sections and slower puzzle solving. So despite a feature list that's very obviously and very intentionally an homage to Wario Land, when you're playing it you realize they may have unintentionally made one of the best 2D Sonics, albeit one with a strongman twist that inconsequential threats can be beaten with momentum instead of just avoided. And it is glorious. The manic crawling dash Peppino does at top speeds is a hilariously apt visualization of how you'll feel when you're blasting your way through these levels. There are secrets hiding in each level and even the hub world itself, but there's also time incentives to run through the levels again. Second playthroughs open up the ability to do a second lap on your timed exit, making the high intensity and thin margins even more intense and more thin. But additional mechanics where that Wario Land influence can be more explicitly felt is how progression works and how power-ups are handled. Getting to the end of a level is not your only or even primary goal. There are 5 pizza toppings in every level, each providing money that is needed to ascend to the next level of the tower, with higher floors demanding more and more content to be completed. The toppings aren't placed in secret locations, they're usually along the critical path or at most slightly off of it, which means you do need to keep your eyes peeled, but you largely stay on the high-speed roller coaster that's the through line of each level. Peppino powering up is usually some sort of malady inflicted on him by enemies within the level. Eating spicy food will make Peppino spit fire and destroy TNT blocks. Walking into a rocket will have Peppino sent flying at high speeds and able to destroy any obstacle in his path. They're all pretty overtly tools that impact your speed and have Peppino control in different ways, seldom being a puzzle-solving mechanic and more so just ways to open doors that need them while retaining your velocity. But Pizza Tower's signature quality, arguably just as important as its momentum-based platforming, is its style. Because key to differentiating itself from just being a Wario Land successor and truly coming into something of its own is Pizza Tower's hand-drawn aesthetic and its surrealist tone. It evokes a lot of the same feelings as the I can't believe these are made for kids 90s Nickelodeon cartoons, a comparison especially apt because of the unique title cards you get for every level. Like 10% of the UI is committed to a TV screen whose sole purpose is to show you what Peppino is feeling and just how strongly he's feeling it. Because Pizza Tower is a slapstick cartoon. where every frame and every input reinforces that. When you punch an enemy, they don't just die, they go flying across the screen and knock other enemies down with them like bowling balls. It's also cartoony in the sense that it bends its own reality to meet the needs of gameplay diversity. The closer to the top of the pizza tower you get, the more it's willing to shift genres to keep you engaged, with golfing levels, stealth levels, and shooter levels with their own unique mechanics, yet somehow they manage to feel very much aligned to the core spirit of the game. If there's one area where Pizza Tower isn't meeting the high bar it continuously sets for itself, it's the fact that late game levels do occasionally veer into a level of precision that the control scheme barely supports. It has this sort of Assassin's Creed problem, in that your main character's movement was designed to traverse long distances and paints that movement with a broad brush. And the few occasions where Pizza Tower demands extremely specific inputs from you act as these sheer difficulty cliffs that are in stark contrast to the relative simplicity of the rest of the game's mandatory challenges. But that's it, and the fact that moments like that stuck out like a sore thumb is a testament to how balanced the game otherwise is. Between its enjoyable momentum-based 2D platforming, strong level design that supports that platforming, and its unique surrealist style, this Pizza Tower delivers on a game that doesn't lean too hard on any one of its inspirations, creating something entirely its own that will no doubt one day inspire its own spiritual successors.